Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we are going to talk about eating kale and some of the ways that I like to make it so that I actually enjoy eating it instead of being like, oh my gosh, this stuff is disgusting. Hopefully these are helpful to you, and if you try any of them, let me know in the comments which one you tried and how well you liked it. Probably the absolutely easiest way to eat kale is kale chips. It's also super yummy, truly recommend, but crazy easy. All you need, kale, olive oil, salt. You can use like a garlic powder too if you want, but for today, since I want to make them more like chips, I'm just going to do them with salt. Okay, so what you're going to do is just rip up into whatever size pieces you want. As I said, this is super simple, and it's also like just whatever your preference is. So I do my pieces kind of small, but I don't want them to be like super tiny, but I kind of have like a mixture of larger or smaller pieces. I washed my kale right before this, so I'm just going to put a towel over to kind of soak up any excess water that's on the kale. And then once you do that, all you need to do is just drizzle the olive oil over it. You need enough that you can coat the kale, but it doesn't have to be like a lot. And then go ahead and I'm putting on salt, as I said, if you want to add extra spices like garlic powder, whatever spice you like, and then just kind of mix it up so that that oil and salt covers all of the kale, and then you should be good to go. Alright, so I just stuck them in there on a 350-degree oven. I'm going to leave them in for like 10-15 minutes, somewhere in that neighborhood. You can eat them with hummus or whatever. I like to eat them plain. Just depends on what your personal preference is. Just mess around with it. They taste really good though. Next thing I'm going to show you is how I make my smoothie using kale. I also do this basically the same smoothie recipe just with spinach, but today we're doing kale. So here's my kale that I've already washed. Frozen pineapple, banana, unsweetened almond milk, toned up vanilla protein, which I get at Target, toned up collagen that I add to all of my smoothies, and then you can pretty much just add whatever superfoods you want. So I'm going to add some ground flaxseed and some chia seeds. So if there are other things you like to add, you totally can. Just take out whatever you don't want and add whatever you want. Basically what you need is some sort of base to make it creamy, some sort of frozen fruit. I really like having a frozen element of it, and then your green, and then obviously you can use almond milk like I do, you can use regular milk, you can use water, whatever you want. And then I like to do all of my shakes as a protein shake to be a meal replacement. So here you're going to just watch me how I make my smoothie, like what I put in first. So I always start with my greens in the bottom just because they mix super easily, so when you start the blender that works really well. Then I'll usually put in my fruits, so I'm using banana for this one. I usually have some frozen bananas in my fridge that I just keep all the time, but for this one I had a fresh one, so I just used that. And then I always put in my liquid before I add any powders, just to help keep your blender cleaner, because if you put in the powders first and then put the liquid on top, then it's more likely to get stuck to the side of your bowl. And just so to make it easier for me to clean, I always put in the liquid first. I tend to put in a fair amount of liquid because I like my smoothies to be a little bit more watery and such, but however you like to do it is totally fine. It is a recipe, but it's not an exact science. So then once I've added all of my superfoods and my powders and stuff, then I'm just going to blend it and then pour it into my smoothie cup. So it's ready to go. It tastes like pretty much like a pineapple smoothie, I'd say. Super good. Love it. Alright, now I'm going to show you guys a shredded kale bowl. This one has kale, chicken, apples, cranberries, and a tiny bit of walnuts. I mean, you could do more walnuts. I'm just not a huge walnut person. And then balsamic vinegar. Yeah, so the first thing you're going to do is wash your kale, which I have already done, and then just start shredding it. Basically, I just use my kitchen scissors to just go through and just cut it into smaller pieces. I like my pieces to be smallish. This is a personal preference thing again, where just however you're comfortable with it. But when I do this, I want it super coated in the vinegar. So I like to just use the small pieces. It also makes it just super easy to just put in a small container to take to work or whatever if you're going somewhere. So just makes it easy for me. But again, just mess around with it, do your own thing. So I have already prepped some of my other ingredients, as you can see there on the side, but I'm just going to cut it a little bit more. And then I will go ahead and start adding stuff. So my chicken I cooked, and then I went ahead and cut it into like bite-sized pieces, but I just like it to be a little bit smaller. As I say, this bowl is just, I like everything to be small. So I just kind of shred it into small chunks for my chicken. If you don't eat meat, or you want this to be a completely plant-based meal, you could just add extra nuts and then leave out the chicken. It's really good with the chicken, but yeah, that's just another option for you if you wanted to do that. And then I'm just going to add my chopped apple. I used most of an apple, but not a complete one for this one. And then the dried cranberries, and then the walnuts. I got a little bit too excited with the goodies on this one, and my bowl was too small, so I had a little bit of trouble mixing it. But that's the gist. You just get too excited with the goodies sometimes. Then I'm just going to pour my balsamic vinegar on top, and then you just need to combine that. So I just put the lid on and kind of shook it to get it all combined, and then you're just going to stick it in your fridge and let it sit for several hours or overnight. I've got kale in my hair. That's great. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing some of the ways that I like to prepare my kale. If you did, feel free to give this video a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos from me, feel free to subscribe. Bye everyone.